Hi, it's Ben from My Cycling Coach. I hope you're well and that you're having a great day. Welcome to this week's Workout Wednesday. So as part of Workout Wednesday this week, I wanted to speak to you about FTP tests. Now, if you've done an FTP test before, you will probably most certainly agree with me that they are not the most enjoyable things to perform. However, they are important that we do test our progress every so often, 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks, depending on the structure that you're following, to ensure that we are just looking at making that gauge on where our progress is at, our fitness, but also ensuring that our training zones are very much aligned and specific to the current level of fitness that you are at, so you can continue to make that progress. Now, one thing that I can often find when speaking to riders, working with my own cyclists, is FTP tests. There can be a lot of the time performing that effort. It is very uncomfortable going to do that. You are going to have to push yourself, but they're normally doing this in training anyway. And one thing that can be a bit of a stumbling block is that test element, if you like, of the FTP test, that normally it's the psychological side of things that maybe prevents them from performing as well as they can during an FTP test, even though through a 4-week block of training they've been smashing their numbers, seeing great progress. They'll then go to retest and find that, just mentally, psychologically, it's what's holding them back from then maybe progressing or seeing that increase in power and fitness through all of the training that they have done. So this is something that I actually wanted to speak to you about today. You may find the same thing, that sort of FTP test element of it, if you like, is what may, when you go to do the FTP test, you have to really psych yourself up to do it, really get yourself motivated, and you really find it hard to perform that effort, even though, as part of your riding, you have been doing, hitting those target powers, watts and intensities anyway. So there's a couple of things that you can do to, FTP test. It's a great way to get that gauge and progress, but it's not the only way. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. There are other things that you can do, remove that test element, if you like, but still incorporate that effort to really gauge where your fitness and power is at. So a lot of things that you can do out there. One of them, or I'll just list a few of them. If you ride on Swift, you ride on some of the other platforms out there, you can maybe go and pick a climb that you do on Swift there and just try and go and put a PB in on that climb. What this is going to do, it's going to remove that test element of it. You're going to have a climb there where you are maybe going against the previous personal best there, but you're just riding up that climb and doing that route, if you like, and performing that ride, rather than thinking of what you're actually doing is a test there. And this can be even the same out on the road. You may have a particular segment out on the road, if it's long enough, that you can go and use as a gauge of where your power and fitness is at after you've completed maybe a 4, 6, 8 week training block. Doesn't have to be a test. It can be, an effort on Swift. It can be a route there. Same in terms of maybe doing it as part of a group ride. I find a lot of my riders will actually see PBs in their power and fitness rather than maybe doing it as an FTP test because they struggle doing that there. They'll go and do a group ride, and as part of that group ride, they'll put in some real sharp efforts, or maybe particular section of that ride, whether it be a flat section, a hillier segment, they'll sort of go on an all-out effort there, and that's where they'll actually see that increase in FTP or power from doing that there, because they're not thinking about the test, they're just focusing on riding. And this is the same with that Swift climb, or doing it on another maybe app that you're using to perform any of your training. Just removing that test element from the FTP can be a massive sort of shift just psychologically, and allow you to get on, make that gauge of where your progress is at, or with your power and fitness, without actually having to say, right, today I'm going to do an FTP testing protocol, but I'm actually just going to do a ride. I'm just going to go and do that hill climb. I'm just going to go and do that group ride. I'm going to go and maybe try and PB a certain segment on Strava. And just through doing that, psychologically, you may find that you'll be able to perform that test, put out a better effort there, rather than maybe just psyching yourself out a little bit with that test element, as I mentioned. I hope you found that useful, guys. If you did, please drop a like on the video. Feel free to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube to receive our most recent content. Any comments, as always, would love to hear from you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your riding, and speak to you soon.